Hi, everyone. I'm Kim.
And I'm Jasmine, and we're the hosts of the Gravediggers podcast, Letting the Dirt Fly.
Today on the podcast, we are first going to talk about us being best friends.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to kind of segue into this because with this podcast, we decided to do it because we had so many good conversations in our friendships. And we were like, I've never had these conversations with anyone.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like topics that are considered dirty. Like, that they're like, I would take these secrets to my grave. There is no way I'm gonna let anybody else know this. And yet, like, my best friend and I are gonna like talk about them.
Yeah. And we share most dirty details. I wouldn't say every dirty detail.
Yeah, there's some things.
There's some things you need to keep in the safe, but there's a lot of things that need to be talked about, especially when, you grow up and you have all of the different responsibilities of life and you're experiencing new things that you've never experienced. It's nice to have someone outside of, your own family to talk about these things with.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like I went so many years without a best friend. And now that I have one, I'm like, oh, I bet somebody else wants these talks with their best friend too. Oh, sorry, my clothes are falling off. um, but I'm sure that somebody else needs this best friend talk and these conversations that we want to talk about, but it's like sometimes super awkward too.
Right. Or sometimes you feel judged because moms nowadays we face social media to a point where we feel like we have to be this perfect mom and this perfect house. And if our kids, are dirty, then we've done something wrong. Or if they're having cereal for dinner, we've done something wrong.
Or if I'm wearing pajamas to Walmart, then I'm considered super weird.
Yeah. When you are.
Okay, I am weird. But like but like I'm just okay, yeah, that I couldn't recover
there's no
from
way to
that.
recover from that. But it's such a different experience when you have your best friend to talk to about these things, to vent to about at the end of the day, to cry to, and just to let everything out, all the dirty details.
Yeah.
So that's why we created this podcast. Is basically a conversation or basically what do we call it? I'm gonna have to edit.
No. No, we are not editing this. But I feel like it's our best friends like well, we also are recording in my closet because we cannot get away from kids.
No.
And so sometimes we have to go in our closet or our bathroom to have like conversations and talking without someone asking for a fruit snack or for us to wipe their butt because they're going to the bathroom.
Exactly. It's how we get away.
And so now you get to get away with us too into our little closet.
It's our little oasis of heaven that we've created.
Okay, so our first topic today is going to be making friends. And making friends as an adult is so hard. It is not like when you're little, you can be like, I gave this person a rock and now we're best friends.
Yeah, doesn't work that way anymore.
Okay, we'll tell a little something later because she actually gave me dirt and now we're best friends.
Yeah,
I guess it kind of worked.
It did work out for us.
Yeah.
But we're weird, so
Yeah.
what do you do?
So don't try that on somebody else.
Not on everyone. Everyone will not respond to the way she responded to me.
Yeah.
Dirt.
Okay. So
So I guess one of the first topics we wanted to talk about is just how to be yourself. And I think that's the hardest part about making a friend is that, again, as moms or as adults, we have this vision of what we should be or could be in life. And I think it's easy to get caught up in the everyday things of life and realize that when you're looking for a friend, you're looking for someone who is not going to judge you, who gets, when you've had a hard day or when you're having issues in your marriage or whatever it may be, or how you're reacting to your kids, whatever it is, I think that's the first place to start is putting down some of those barriers that you may have built up about how you're supposed to present yourself to others.
yeah, and there's like times where I even am like I had a crappy day and like I let her know and she's like the rock during that time. And then she has a crappy day and I'm like, "Okay, I'm bringing you soup because you don't feel very good."
Yeah.
It's like a back and forth, but um there is it's a it's a while till you get to that point cuz I know when we first met, I did subtle nerd hints and I was just like
Put the feelers out there.
what kind of shows do you like watching? "Oh, you like dressing up? Oh, Halloween's
Oh.
your favorite." Like, so it was like those little feelers of like,
Yeah.
okay, seeing like how weird I can get before she's like, because I've had some friends, um,
But you guys have tried to integrate into your group in the past.
yeah, and they do
Mm-mm.
they don't stick.
No.
Like they'll hang out with us every once in a while, but they were like, "Oh, wait, you talked about tarot cards?" And then suddenly they're like, and they don't show up for a couple of times of hanging out. So it really is like
And
a
you get
weird balance.
ghosted. And it's kind of like dating, you know? Like
Mm,
you have to put the time and the effort into the relationship and you put your feelers out there to see if they're compatible with your likes and your interests or not. But it's really about you have to make a commitment to find that friend. Or if you
mm,
want to find a friend, it takes commitment because you have to, make the time for them when most of us, we're working or we're taking care of our kids or we're doing work from home or school from home or wherever it may be. It's not always easy to make the time for another person in your life.
yeah. Yeah, you have to be at the right time and they kind of have to be at the right time too.
And kind of brings us to how we met.
Okay,
Okay, you tell your part,
uh,
your side of the story.
sounds good. So when I'm driving home and I work at an elementary school. I'm in the health office or the nurse's office. And I'm heading home and then there is Emily and another girl in our garage. And I was like, "What is going on?" You're good.
Sorry, long legs. The long leg struggle.
um, but I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "Hey, can we have this friend over to play?" And I was like, "Well, you gotta ask her mom." And they're like, "Oh, she's on the phone." And I was just like, "Okay." And then like,
So picture me. I just went back to college, and so I'm in class until like 5 minutes after she's out. So I told her, I was like, there's going to be a small period of time when you're out of school and I'm still in class. Please don't call me unless it's an emergency. And so I'm in this like auditorium full of students. Like I told the teacher, I was like, hey, my little is just starting to walk home by herself. If I ever have to leave the room, it's because it's an emergency.
yeah.
So she calls and I'm like, oh no, what's going on? So I rush out of like this huge auditorium, like where you have concerts. I'm on the phone with her and she's like, hey mom, can I have a play date with my friend? And I was just awestruck for a second. I was like,
What
this is
isn't an emergency
yeah,
to
what
you?
does an emergency mean to you, basically? And she's like, well, I'm sorry. And she's like, well, I'm at her house right now. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, how did you get to her house? Where does she live? So basically, like, what, a couple months into her walking home by herself, she just starts roaming the neighborhood looking for new friends. And so, I had to have her sent home. I was like, do you know how to get home? I talked to her mom, and
Yeah.
thankfully, she was just a couple blocks down the road. But it was definitely a panic moment for me in terms of like, where is my child? Are they safe?
Mm.
And did I do the wrong thing,
Yeah,
letting her walk home by herself?
and on my side, like my daughter is super friendly, and so she was just like, "Oh yeah, I have this friend." I was like, "Okay, well, just make sure their parents know where they're at." But like once we had that conversation, I was like, "How about we just schedule a play date?"
Yeah.
And I didn't realize on her side she was like, "Yes, like get my daughter home. She's not where she's supposed to be."
Panic, full blown panic attack.
Yeah.
But then what was it the next day immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We invited her daughter over to our house, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to come in?" And she's like, "Yes." And and all I was like, "Oh, cool." Like usually when I ask a mom if they want to come in, they're like, "Oh no, we're running errands," or "Oh no, we're doing this." But she was like, "No, yeah."
Yeah, like I don't have anything better to do
I was
with my
like, "Cool."
time.
By what is it? Like half an hour into it, we were having a play date, and
Oh
our
yeah.
daughters were just there. And
And my daughter was like, "Mom, when are you gonna leave?" And I was like, "No, no, no, no. Mom needs friends too. This is a two-way street, honey. Like you find friends, I find friends. This is how it works now."
uh,
But it's so true because like when you think about it, I work full time, I go to school full time, I take care of the kids, I come home and I cook dinner. So unless it's, at school or at home or at work or at one of the kids' extracurricular activities, there's really no time for us to make friends.
no.
So I had to work with what I had. not
And
not
she
like
got
you're not
me.
great or anything, but I had to settle. Settle for what I could get.
That's fantastic. But yeah, so I invited her in and then we just hit it off so well that I don't know, we got started talking about pizza and she's like, "I have stuff so that you can like make good pizzas." And I was like, "Cool." And then like 2 days later she was over making pizzas with us.
Yeah.
And so like then we started doing pizzas and then we hung out a couple more times, but it wasn't like a lot of hanging out.
Yeah, at the beginning, I feel like we hung out 2 or 3 times within like a month and a half span.
But also like I was going to school full time while working full time
Mm-hmm.
and momming full time. So
Yeah.
I feel like
With
we
you
both were just like super our schedules were not
They were
melding at all.
hectic.
Yeah.
No. Well, and you've got 4 kids, 4 girls,
Mhm.
and I've got 3. And so making the time between work, school, and the kids and all of their activities, it was hard. And so, I didn't hear from her throughout the summer. She was kind of doing, I think you were in school over that first summer.
Mhm.
And I was trying to bond with my family, really. Like
Oh,
that was the
nice.
summer of just, you know,
Yeah, you need
going
those.
on family trips and getting out of the mundane everyday life. So that's what we were doing. But then Halloween came around.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have you scoot closer to me.
Okay, yep, let's do it.
Okay. There we go.
So Halloween came around, my absolute favorite holiday. I'm the one that over decorates for everything. I've got the
Mhm.
cobwebs, the spiders, the creepy little books.
Oh, and like everything that she does is Pinterest cute. Like she has Rice Krispies that are dipped and have googly eyes, and
Oh my
she just
gosh,
like,
I did see
and
that.
she has like a cauldron that actually has like the dry ice that is coming out of it, and everything is so cute, and everybody has their homemade sugar cookie station where they get to decorate their own sugar cookies because she makes the best sugar cookies. So it's like, seriously, it was like a Pinterest home inside there, and I was just like,
So
eh,
that's how I got her.
yeah.
That's how I reeled her in.
Well, and then also we're there with these other parents and kids, and me and her, the only ones that dressed up.
Yep, I was like in full witch costume. I had my cauldron. I had to like play the part. So
Mhm.
I had
And
my
I was Kim Possible because
right. She was
I'm a
Kim.
90s kid. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I love it.
But like just knowing that we found that one connection that kind of really just made our friendship click because when she took me home the next day. She's like, "Hey, I have to show you something that I haven't shown anyone else." And I was like, "Oh wow, like I've really made an impact on her." And
Yeah, I hadn't taken anyone into my garage. I
it,
had this like I have this crafting area. I don't know why I'm whispering, as if like it's a secret
it's
that
a
I'm getting this
secret.
out. But I have this
You're out of the closet.
I know. No, I'm
We're in the closet.
in the closet. But I have this desk and it is just jam-packed of all of this like LARPing, which is live action role playing. So the people that fight with swords and like foam stuff in the park and are all dressed up in their garb, that is me. And so I have like scale mail and foam swords and shields and fur and leather and everything out there and it's
And there was
fantastic.
a bear with its head cut off, a teddy bear with its head
Oh yeah.
cut off. So that was jarring.
I was making Halloween costumes and we were warrior women. And then my husband was in normal clothes and he was tied up with a rope and Hannah, my youngest, was like dragging him along.
With her
And
toy knife and
yeah.
threatening to stab him if he tried to
And we
escape.
all had teddy bear like off of us because that was actually the cheapest fur because like fur is expensive. So
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was how we kind of connected. And one of the first questions I had asked her was like, what kind of shows do you like to watch? And right out the gate, I was like, I like to watch Star Trek. That's one of my favorites.
Uh,
And normally when I throw that out there, people are like, oh, like I've heard of Star Trek, but I've never seen it. And she's over here like, yeah, I've seen them all.
Yeah, my dad raised me on that. I remember having VHSs that like had all the different episodes recorded off the TV and you'd have to like fast forward through the commercials. Like I remember watching those and Stargate. Those were like my two go-tos growing up.
Growing
So,
up. Yeah, it's crazy. But it's funny that 2 blocks down the street for the past, what, 3 years, we've been in the same neighborhood. We moved in the same neighborhood within a month of each other. And we both like dressing up. We both love sci fi movies. We
mhm.
both are complete nerds who walk around Walmart and hear a song come on and just start singing it out loud like
Hmm.
there's no one else around us.
Yeah, and we also love sushi.
Sushi.
Yeah, and so like having all of these things, and we were less than a 4-minute walk from each other for how many years?
3 years.
Yeah,
And it took us 2 years to find each other.
yeah,
But now that we have, I mean, it's more
yeah,
special than anything else in the world.
yeah.
Sorry, husband. I love you too. Oh, and my children. You're up next.
uh, okay, so when we first started meeting, okay, we had the Halloween party, and then after that, we were like on fire.
It was like Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it was, we were hanging out at least every other day, but mostly every day. We were hanging out. And we were just, it was just constant.
And it was fun
It
at
was
first.
so much fun. And I was like laughing so much. And I realized that this was like the person that I needed. And everything was good.
And I kept, and when I would go home and tell my husband, I was like, I think I love her more even now today than I did yesterday. And he was just like getting so tired of like the constant Kim talk. Like, can we talk about something else? And
Hmm.
it got to the point where both of our husbands were like, can we do activities without the other person being there? Like, is that still
Mm.
okay to just have family time?
Which that's something that we need to point out too, is that when you are making friends as adults, you have to know that family balance
Hmm.
of like, okay, is this going to be a family activity or is this going to be like a invite friends activity? And sometimes I just have to tell my husband, I have to be like, okay, tell me which one it is. Is this a date night or is this like a double date night? Like, which one do you want it to be?
Exactly. Because, you know, again, they have they have needs, we have needs, and we all have boundaries, and we have to respect that and find like that perfect balance to where we make time for both.
Hmm.
And it took a little bit of a push to get us in the right direction.
Hmm.
But then we kind of ended up having to figure it out on our own.
Hmm. Yeah, and feel like this is my part of the story I
The
have to tell about.
melancholy part. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I had been hanging out so much, and I am somebody that I say yes a lot. Even if there's too much on my plate, I always say yes.
You're a people pleaser.
Yes. um, but then I was so burnt out. And at this point, we were going to the gym every morning together. We were seeing each other at night, and I was getting burnt out. Even though, like, I loved hanging out with her, I was not getting like my recharge time and my family time. And I realized that I needed to tell her this, but it was a super awkward conversation that I knew I had to have with her. So I texted her and I was like,
Oh, well, no, you didn't just text me.
"Oh,
So
first of all,
we
I was a
we
crap."
have gymnastics with our girls or with all of our kids on the same night. So that's like our weekly girl talk. We get together, we watch, well, we don't really watch them do
No,
their
we don't
thing.
watch
We're
our girls.
talking the whole time. But she was just acting really standoffish. And so I had thought, I was like, well, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I'm with her too much. Maybe it's the gym thing. So then I get home and I'm feeling slightly like uncomfortable about the situation. I told my husband, I was like, I don't think she likes me anymore. And then I get a text from her saying, can we talk? Dot, dot, dot. So, first of all,
I am not good at
that is the
texting.
breakup talk. That is the breakup text. Can we talk?
It is.
So I told my husband, I was like, she's going to break up with me. And he's like, first of all, you need to calm down. Like, she's not going to break up with you. I'm sure it's fine. And then even if she does, like, she doesn't know what she's lost. Like, giving me like the
Uh-huh.
little pump up
Yeah,
talk.
you got this, girl.
Yeah,
You
you
got
got this.
this.
It's going to be okay.
Your husband's good like that.
Yeah, he's very good. So she comes and picks me up. And what was your you had an idea to like soften
Okay.
me up.
Yeah, I wanted to go and get us milkshakes because I was like, food always makes any awkward conversation better. So I'm trying to
It
like
does.
keep up conversation because I was like, I still like her. I still want to be friends with her. But I just need to like say no sometimes. But like, so like we're driving and I'm trying to keep this happy conversation and it's super awkward. We go and get milkshakes and we're like drinking and finally I'm like, okay.
And I'm like, "Are you going to break up with me?" And she tells me, "Kind of, but not really." That was her response. I was like,
Let's just say my
God.
communication skills are really not on par very well. So then I try to tell her like I need more like my by myself time. Like if we need to go like a couple weeks between us seeing each other, like I'm okay with that because I still want to be friends with you, but right now I'm pushing myself too far and so we're not going to be good friends. And I don't want to not like you because I like you and like I want to make this friendship work.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize I just needed to tell her that because what was it? A week later, I'm like, "Hey, do you want to go grocery shopping with me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, hey, I made extra food. Do you want extra food?"
Hey, we're going to gymnastics. You want me to pick you up on the way? And like those text messages were like the like heaven to my ears or whatever the saying is. I don't know. But because, I thought we were going to go from seeing each other almost every day to only once a month. And I think we both realized that's all we needed was a slight pause and a slight break and to set boundaries with each other.
Mhm.
Um,
And know that she can be like, "Oh, no, sorry, my husband already made dinner." Or I can be like, "Oh, I already have plans. I won't
yeah.
be able to
Or
meet up."
I'm tired and I just don't want to hang out that day.
Yeah, that's also a good one.
Because there are days when I go home after a long day at work and I don't even want to talk to anyone. I don't want to tuck my kids in. I don't want to make dinner. I just want to go lay down and put my head on the pillow. And that's reality
Yeah.
because we're adults and no one prepared anyone for adulthood.
And I think that even triggers a little bit into what you were saying before is that we have like this how like we're supposed to be and it's hard to be a friendship if you're not by your like you're not true to yourself and you're not like, "Hey, I need a mental break," or "Hey, I need to go to bed and watch TikToks for the next 2 hours to finally get myself back to normal."
Exactly.
But like now that we have that friendship and we've already established that we're going to be completely honest with each other, then it hasn't been a problem at all.
No. And I mean, the relationship that I found with you is something that I have never found with another person because it's literally like I always wanted a sister growing up and I never had that person, that we could share outfits with or clothes with or go on silly adventures or go shopping with or go to Trader Joe's with. And I finally found it in her and it was the most like calming feeling in the world to finally find your person. Sorry. I
Sorry if you aren't watching this right now.
uh
Ugh.
if you have a bag, grab one because you're probably gonna need to throw up.
uh,
But that's just like a testament to when you know that it's the right person. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. You don't feel like you have to be a different person around them. You feel like you can be your genuine self and finding someone that you can be that with. It's just one of the most incredible feelings in the world.
yeah.
And I think that's why we wanted to create this podcast is to give other people that same feeling because again, it doesn't happen overnight. It took
No.
me, how old am I? 28 years old.
Yeah, and I'm 31. And
Yeah,
yeah.
it took me like 6 years to make a new best friend from the last time I made another friend like this. Um,
I was like me in high school, so I'm like, I'm going on like what is it, 12, 13 years?
yes,
Yeah.
okay. It took time.
It
It took time.
takes time.
And that's really why we created this podcast. But we also want to hear from you guys. And so every episode, we're going to have something called Call a Friend Corner. And so it's where you can email us your questions, your stories, or your topic requests, and we'll read them out loud. Um, because we just want to find a nice outlet for us to be able to share a story with you guys, but also for you to share with us because this is a conversation and a conversation is two-sided. And so we don't want it just coming from us. We want to hear from you guys
We
as
want
well.
you right here in the closet
We
with
want you in
us.
the closet with us. You might not fit. We're probably going to have to go to the
Yeah.
chiropractor after this. But
Yeah.
I mean, we do things for what are we doing this for? For each other. We do this
Yeah,
for
we
each
are.
other.
We're doing it because we love each other.
Exactly.
But yeah, we're thankful that were able to join us today, and we'll catch you later. Thank you for listening to the Gravediggers podcast.
We are your best friends, Jasmine
and Kim.
Please subscribe and find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at gravediggers.j as in Jasmine,
K as in Kim.
And look for us on Patreon, where we give exclusive content, seasonal gifts, and early access to those that help us provide this content.
Till next time. Don't be afraid to dig in the mud and get a little dirty.